and gentlemen, this is Stephen Hayden from the That Scuffed Up podcast. Here we go, got a big week going on for the podcast. Me and Justin will be discussing a lot of stuff. However, your boy did it. We're going to discuss that along with the other awards, all of the week 4 games. Got a lot to talk about today, but for now, here we go.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of That Scuffed Up. Today, episode 22 coming to you. Steven has a different background today because he is out of town currently, so he has got a little different space going on behind him. But how are we doing today, Steven?
You know, you win the MVP, you got to go celebrate, you got to go travel out around a little bit. No, unfortunately, that's not the reason I am out of town today. I'm out of town for some other personal reasons that I won't get into. But I've had some free time here. We're doing the podcast here and ready to get things going.
Very nice to hear that everything is okay. Hope traveling is all good and everything like that. This week 4 is concluded. We're moving on to week 5, almost to the halfway point of the season. We have award winners that were announced for the summer 2023 season. We're going to talk about each and every single individual one, and then we will maybe get a chance to talk to maybe one of the award winners. Not sure who that will be yet, but we'll get to that in a second. And then we'll talk about the week 4 scores, and we'll make sure everything looks good for that, and check everything out for week 5. Before things start, it seems like the Big A series, the Angels games get together, has been canceled officially as of about an hour ago as we're recording this. So if you purchase a ticket, make sure you check your email, see if you got an email from the commissioner, Anthony Agrusa, for more details about that. But other than that, not a lot of big announcements to make out right now. Really, the big ones are just talking about these award winners from the summer 2023 season, and we'll talk about every single individual one. There was a few new ones introduced this season, and we'll talk about those ones a little bit more in depth when we get to it. But going down the ladder order, we'll start off with the very first one, which is one of the newer ones, Relief Pitcher of the Year. That was won by Drake Hoffman. And what we'll do here is kind of talk about each individual player and about these awards a little bit, get some thoughts on about the player who won that award, and then we'll talk about every single individual one. Starting off with the Relief Pitcher of the Year. Steven, what are your thoughts about this award?
Relief Pitcher of the Year, it's a new one. It's named after Glenn Hoffman, so it was made sense that a Hoffman won this one award the first time. That one being Drake Hoffman. Drake Hoffman had a very good pitching year, 22 and 2/3 innings, only allowing 2 runs the whole year, having something like 46 or 47 strikeouts, somewhere along those lines. Was a very good relief pitcher for them. Relief pitcher typically is the guy who's not eating up most of the innings for a team. Drake was actually third on his team in innings, but he did have a .55 ERA, only allowing 2 runs the whole year. Joking with him, I'll take credit for one of those runs. I had a home run off of him, but only two runs allowed the whole year. It was a great pitching year. Wasn't quite in that race for the Cy Young due to the fact he didn't pitch that many innings. But it was a fitting award winner for this first time award for the Relief Pitcher of the Year. We were gonna have a couple new awards in there. That things turned out there was only just one new award being input for this year, and that would go to Mr. Drake Hoffman.
Absolutely epic year during the summer. His numbers were very fantastic in that margin of the relief pitching stuff, but obviously overshadowed by a couple of other guys on his team as well. Fitting that the name of the award is after his uncle for this award. So congrats to Drake Hoffman on winning this award.
Yeah, it was a big part of his team going undefeated in the regular season. And especially with Hayden going in the playoffs, he really hoped the team really helped him push to get to a World Series. But unfortunately, they fell short in Game 3 of the World Series. But he was pitching great in the World Series, kept him very close in the game. I think he pitched, especially Game 3. I think he pitched 4 scoreless innings, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe allowed 1 run. So I'm I'm curious to see if he'll be pushing for that Cy Young sometime soon, because it seems like he's got some guys, like a lot of guys forward out there. So we'll see what happens in Drake's pitching career, because there's been a lot of improvements from when he first came into the league. When he first came to the league, very first, and he was doing some good stuff, but he wasn't throwing a lot of strikes. We were walking a lot, and there's one video posted on our supposed the Instagram page of me hitting a grand slam off of him. So we're going from allowing 8 runs in his first inning with the ball to allowing 2 runs in 22 and 2/3 innings is quite the turnaround in just 3 seasons.
Absolutely, for sure. So congrats to Drake Hoffman on that award, and hopefully they'll be able to make another playoff push here this season. Next award on our list is a pretty prestigious one that we've talked about for a couple of years now. Nick Agrusa was the winner of this one a season ago. We have a new winner, which is Manager of the Year. Tyler Moore is the winner for this last season, making the flip for the Beach City Bombers from a season ago where they were only 1 win and the rest were losses, and coming back and winning their first World Series in franchise history. Not much more fitting for a guy like Tyler Moore.
Yeah, what a difference a season can make. It didn't really know he was going to be the captain or the manager for the Beach City Bombers in the fall. I remember talking to him before his first game. He was kind of like, "Oh, okay. I guess I'm the captain. I guess I got to figure stuff out." But he was doing a great job of keeping his teammates into things and stuff like that. I thought it was a very close battle between him and Drake for this award. You come in, you win a World Series. He didn't have the greatest numbers in the league. Did Tyler? He had some very good numbers and was able to propel his team to have some very good numbers, and obviously that led to some big contributions in the World Series. So I know in the original podcast when we were predicting the winners, I chose Drake to win this one, but I think Tyler's a deserving winner of this award as well.
Absolutely. We had him on this show earlier this year and talked about that a little bit more. If you want to catch that interview, you can go backwards in our YouTube channel and find that interview. It was a pretty good one. Very interesting stuff to talk about there. The next award, though, was kind of obvious. Home Run Derby champ. We've already talked about that a little bit. So Zach Moore obviously was that winner of the Home Run Derby championship. So we won't talk about him too much since we already covered much of that as well. But he was also a really big part of the reason why they won the World Series last year. So props to the Moore brothers for doing a really good job coming in here. Zach Moore being one of those rookie players coming in for his team, and his brother Tyler coming in as a returner. So congrats to the Beach City Bombers yet again, and here we are.
Yeah, that was a big day for Zach Moore. He didn't even know he was going to be there that day. I had a baseball game that got canceled. Decided to come out to the Austrian Home Run Derby. Ended up beating Hayden in the final round, beating the 3-time champ, and ended up getting that home run derby champion. Also, I don't have it with me today because I'm out of town. As the award we got given, it was like whiskey glasses almost. It was like not exactly sure how you would term it. They were engraved with the award that you won and things like that. So this is the one award everyone knew was going to happen because it already happened in real life. But then Zach Moore continued. Had a great World Series for himself, so there's not too much to say. We've already discussed the home run champ, Zach.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess for reference, this is kind of what they look like a little bit. Instead, they had the logo of OC Wiffle and then the award on the bottom, so somewhat close, but obviously Steven's not at home to show you his actual award that he got, which we'll talk about in a second. So,
might have been in the intro part. We'll see if he puts that here, but it'll definitely be shown off more in the next week's podcast.
It's a pretty sweet looking glass for sure. You plan on drinking anything out of it though?
I gotta be careful with that thing. I might be falling on the floor if I use that thing too much.
Was the mug from last season, was that also made out of glass?
It was, yeah. That one was more like a beer mug, but that was glass as well. It didn't have the it didn't have what award you won on it, but it did have those awards there.
Well, I'll ask you this question actually just in the middle of this, but what do you prefer? Do you like the mugs with the glass, or do you like the cups with the award that you got on it?
I just like it when it has the award, when you know what you won on there. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me too much if it's the mug or it's the cup like that. I just like it. I like the fact that this summer he went with putting what award you won on there and stuff, because that's always a cool thing to remember and to have, and you'll be able to see what exactly you won. In terms of the difference between the mug and the cup and the one like the whiskey cup and stuff, I'm not too fussed about the difference between those two. I think those are pretty good either way. Like I said, I just want to have that engraving on to see to have it say what you want.
I think it's a lot better because it says exactly, what you really deserved and why you won it in the first place, instead of just having it kind of a logo, right? It's kind of more like, oh, where did you go? Did you go to like a meeting where it's all the same thing, something like that? So being able to see what kind of award it was, I think is a better feeling for a lot of people than just having it blank.
Yeah, especially if you got an MVP one, I think people are gonna be, oh, it's a good conversation starter.
Right, exactly. Which, speaking of which, All-Star Game MVP, obviously, this one was kind of debated for a little bit on this show a bit, but I think for the most part, I think we both agree that it was most likely going to be you for this award. So this was your first one of the day, actually. So this is not the only one he won. So All-Star MVP, Stephen Hayden.
Yeah, it only took me 5 tries to win an All-Star game. It's about time it finally happened. I had a very good day out there on the field. It was a 16-9 game, if I'm not mistaken, in 4 innings. Decided to cut after 4 innings. Score was it was a very high scoring first inning. We were the home team in the game. I went. I had a couple homers. I did not get out once when I was at the plate. I'd walked a good amount just because I wasn't getting a lot of strikes, but I did have a single and a couple home runs in there. And then pitching wise, I didn't really pitch much that first inning. I had to kind of get used to stuff with the mound and things, and the field and things like that. But as we got into the second and third innings, I really kept that score down and kept us in the game, and made sure that we were able to come out with a victory. Pitching wise, that was pretty good. I think it went 2 1/3 innings. They only allowed like 4 runs or something like that, which on the day it was pretty good because some guys are on 4 runs without getting a single out. So it was I feel like some of these past couple All-Star games I had my team would have won, I would have been the MVP. Unfortunately, we didn't come out with a win, especially this summer 2022 and fall 2022. But it was good to finally get a win. Just get a win for the team in one of those in general. Me being the manager of the team after winning the spring 2023 World Series. I can say this right now. There will be a different All-Star Game MVP for next year, so I'm interested to see who that is.
Absolutely. Well, any more fitting than it was to finally win your first All-Star game as a manager, and then you actually get the physical award for contributing the most in that game as well. So congratulations for that award.
Yeah, schedule conflicts will make it so I'm unable to go to the next All-Star game because I will be playing some bigger. I believe I should be playing some bigger and more important football. No offense to OC football, but I'll be in York, Pennsylvania, for the World Championships, representing SoCal football and OC football in a way as well. If we're playing Sunday, I think it's a great sign. But regardless, I'm going to be there Sunday. If you make it to Sunday, it means you're at least in the final 8. So I'm not getting my hopes up too much for that, but and who knows what we can have. We got a good group, so that conflicts with that Sunday is the same day as the All-Star game that goes on. So we're gonna figure out who to put in my team for my team into that game because me and Dustin will be gone. will Justin sneak his way into another All-Star game? Who knows?
Well, the way things are going right now, it doesn't look like it. Especially for the other, another big surprise for another veteran player so far, with Jordan Drexler hasn't really figured out his groove yet either. But that's just another conversation we could talk about later with the games. Obviously.
Yeah, we can have that conversation once we get into the games and stuff like that. It's been a little bit of a struggle, especially offensively outside of me. We'll talk more about that when we get to our games, but I'm glad to be the MVP of this, and hopefully this is my last award that I win.
Absolutely. So next one on our sheet is Rookie of the Year. This one was debatable between a couple of different players. I think Zach Moore was also in this conversation, along with a couple of other like Michael Haskup and all those people. But this one was more of a most improved type of player. We saw him kind of evolve into a really good pitcher halfway through the season. Ended up being a big contributor for the Trash Pandas to defeat LA Wolves the OC in their playoff game, and that is Mo Wright, Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, it was he was one of the better players in the league, especially as we got on later through the season. He didn't really start off the year pitching at all, but kind of developed pitch that ended up leading him to a pretty low ERA. He might have had something like a 1.75 ERA in 20 innings pitched or something like that. Ended up being the main pitcher for the Trash Pandas. The hitting wise, the numbers were always there. Had a 4.40 average on the year with double-digit home runs. He was one of the best newcomers that we had. He was named the best newcomer that we had in the year in terms of stats, especially the impact he had on his team. Led his team into the semifinals before getting knocked out by the eventual champions, beat Shitty Bombers. He was finally out there this week for the first time. Hasn't been out there for the first few weeks. A little bit of rest, but we'll talk more about their game later on. I think this was sort of deserved one. I pushed for this one when we were doing our previous predictions video. I think this is one the deserved one for him. I think it's a great winner for this. Someone maybe you don't expect to see here. Maybe you expect to see some of the guys like the Zach or Tyler Moore or someone else like that. But I think most numbers overall put him over the top in this one.
Yeah, definitely. Being the big contributor that helped them push their way through the rankings a little bit that previous season. They were towards the bottom midway through the season, and the only reason why they were able to make it up there was because of that improved pitching. And the bats were always there. It was always a question of whether the pitching could really come into play here, and Mo Wright really definitely improved that aspect of the game for them and really picked it up for their odds on their side, and it kind of changed the course of how we see that team now.
Yeah, Blake Fitzgerald has been doing a lot of the pitching work for them so far in the absence of Mo, and they've had some guys fill in, but I think the addition of Mo coming back will kind of stabilize things, and we'll see where this team can go. They're currently sitting in the middle of the standings right now. We'll see how this team does, but I think this is a deserved award for Mo.
Yeah, absolutely. Talked about him a little bit now. These next awards, though, are kind of debated a lot on this show as well. We had a couple of different guys for this, but we'll just first talk about Silver Slugger, which was Lucas Sardo. Silver Slugger usually goes to the guy with high OPB, maybe a ton of home runs, stuff like that. Lucas Sardo did lead the league in home runs with 19 in the summer 2023 season. He wins Silver Slugger, the first of the kind for himself. So congrats to Lucas Sardo on winning Silver Slugger.
Yeah, had a very good offensive season. Led the league in home runs with 20. It was a very close debate between him and two other people for the mixture of Silver Slugger and Hank Aaron. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Lucas Sardo was one of those three names, along with Nick Usoff and Jordan Drexler. In my original prediction, I had Nick Usoff winning the Silver Slugger and Jordan Drexler winning the Hank Aaron Award. But Lucas Sardo kept the Avocados in a lot of games. hitting a lot of home runs. It led them to the 50 before they got knocked out by the MS Warriors. That was without Dylan Hoffman and Kyle Froome, and that day as they were gone for coaching that day. He had a very good offensive season. One of those three guys was going to get robbed here. I just didn't think it would be Jordan, but I think Lucas started out a very good season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could definitely switch the three, different spots with these two awards, but it was, it's a difficult decision to figure out whether, who got it, deserved it the most. Lucas Sardo definitely did have those numbers for himself on the stat sheet. The other reason why Avocados really were staying afloat was because of the hitting for the most part. The pitching was, always somewhat inconsistent at times, but it kind of helped them, stay afloat, and they made their first playoff appearance last season. And I think their goal this season is to kind of, return to the playoffs again and hopefully push further beyond just the divisional round rather than the, falling behind in that aspect. So I think this is a good one for Lucas Sardo.
Yeah, and I know he's not had the best start pitching wise for him, but hitting wise he's kind of getting back on track. He's already got 7 home runs so far, 349 average, 509 on base percentage. He's getting off to a good start with the home runs. I believe he made the lead. He's got the same number of home runs as the LA Wolves of the OC do combined as a team. So I believe right now he's one ahead of Shaden Hendrickson for the lead. That appears to be the case. So he's on that start already to be leading Division I in home runs, kind of like he led the whole league in home runs last year. We'll see if he's able to hold on to that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the storyline that I guess we're going to be seeing from now on with Lucas Sardo, and home runs associating him with the those high numbers in that aspect. Anyways, going on to the Hank Aaron Award, though, this was also one that was close that I mentioned before. Nick Yusoff for Whoosh was the winner of the Hank Aaron Award. He was not present there for the award ceremony, so he wasn't able to pick that up. So I'm sure they're figuring out how to get that to him. But congratulations, Nick Yusoff. He had a very good season. Former LA Wolves OC player. We always kind of knew that he would make this big jump with the team when he made his return. The season before was absent, came back in the summertime, really made a name for himself in the stat sheet numbers, and took this award home with him just for all that achievement that he had this last season with the Hank Aaron Award.
Yeah, as I've said on the podcast before, Don, I need some trade. I need something back in that trade because I've been fleeced, I've been robbed, been hoodwinked, I've been bamboozled. I've been let go of Nick Yusoff and Ryan Miller, and I need something back, please.
Did you lose some picks there?
Maybe the punishment was going to Division II. Who knows?
Oh, damn.
No, Nick Yusoff had a very good offensive season. I originally had him picked to win the Silver Slugger, but I think he was one of the best. I think he was one of the best hitters in the league this year. Had very good numbers across the board. I was very high in that home run total. I believe had a higher average than Lucas Sardo as well. And on base, I mean, people eventually just got scared to throw to him. He ended up walking a lot and just getting on base a lot of the time. So with all that, I think he definitely deserved a hitting award, and to see it be that Hank Aaron Award, congratulations to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember playing against Whoosh last season when we had Steven absent for the better part of that game, and then he'd always hit line drive bombs into different places, and defensively he was really good too. So he could have been a different type, but he's a versatile player when he's out there on the field. He understands the game very well, and like you said, definitely got fleeced on some of that trade value. I'm not sure what you gave up to have him go over to Whoosh, whether that's a 7th round pick or a 6th round pick or whatever, stuff like that. But
I got used, so.
Oh, that's why. Okay. That makes sense. I guess even though we were on the same team for like one season, but all right. Now you're just
I
making
need
fun
to
of me.
I need to trade value back. I mean, Donna leaving from the summer. That's fine. But I lost Ryan and Nick. I need some trade value back, please.
Well, I'm sure that'll be a discussion for later between the two of you and Ryan Miller's team, who is obviously Ellie Wolf's OC C team, or whatever, however you so lovingly put it.
It's the Division II Ellie Wolf's OC team. Okay.
Okay, there we go. That works better.
Because we got 2 Division I teams for Ellie Wolf's.
There we go. All right, well, the next one is the Cy Young Award. This one was also a really big one. You know, we've seen our fair share of Cy Young Award winners the previous seasons. This one was Dylan Hoffman once more, taking on that Hoffman name and accelerating it tenfold as he's always done. And he had one of the lowest ERAs in the entire league, with I think some of the most innings pitched. Really carried his team throughout the season. Was a big part of why they were staying in games with that pitching aspect. And that lefty pitching is a lot different as you see it when you're playing against a righty pitcher. So but congrats to Dylan Hoffman. He gets Cy Young Award winner. And yeah.
Back to back for Dylan Hoffman. Now he won the Cy Young in the spring 2023 season. Now wins it in the summer 2023 season. At a 2 ERA and 48 innings pitched. Only allowing 16 runs the whole year. Averaging allowing 1 run per 3 innings. Very, very tough to hit against. Actually, we'll talk a little bit more about what he did in this week, because there was some runs off of him, but overall in the season, not a very easy pitcher to hit at all. It was kind of close, but it was kind of close between him and Steven, especially with those numbers. Steven having a lower ERA, but I think with Steven got a different award. So this Cy Young goes out to Dylan Hoffman, a very deserving. Shoot, you should have walked off on. Oh, never mind. Congratulations to Dylan Hoffman. We can ignore that last clip. Unfortunately, his team did fall short. He gave up a walk-off home run to True Hendrickson in the semifinals in bottom 6, game 3. So he's used to giving up game-losing home runs in the playoffs the last 2 seasons. But I'll love to have to be careful because he's my coach now as well. So very deserving for the Cy Young Awards. Sorry, Dylan.
I thought you broke something over there. That's why, when I heard the loud crack, I was like, "What the hell just happened?" Yeah, Dylan Hoffman, really carrying himself for this team, and obviously that unfortunate event happened, but. It just, the best pitchers, they're human beings, so they can be hit off of, obviously, but Dylan Hoffman really had those consistent numbers throughout the year, had a really good season as a player, and, getting back-to-back Cy Youngs definitely tells you that he's a prevalent pitcher in this league now, so whenever you face up against him, you got to be careful when you're playing against their team.
Yeah, especially when your second pitcher is Joey Ponder, you got to throw a lot of innings if you're doing never mind. You got to throw a lot of innings. You're doing off, and your second pitcher is Joey Ponder.
Yeah, apparently he's living in my head rent free. But
he is living in your head.
He is living in my head rent free.
So far in your head.
That's weird. I don't know why he's in my head. Why do you want to be in my head?
I'm hoping for the scheduled purposes we play each other this week, because there have already been some conversations about having him start against you. So
I would love that. Because I would destroy him. Anyways,
we'll find out soon enough
if that happens. I really want that to happen now. Anyways, moving on to our next award winner, we have the MVP, which is for most prestigious player in the entire season. The best stats overall, pitching wise and offensive wise. Defensive wise, we don't exactly pay attention much to that because it's hard to keep stats on those things, obviously, but this was kind of unanimous for the most part. If you wanted to read out some of the numbers, ERA 1.9, 97 strikeouts in 44.3 innings pitched. And then you look at his average 629 with a 2.072 OPS, 39 hits and 73 plate appearances, 14 home runs, 3 doubles, 21 singles. Overall, just a really, really fantastic year, and that
Whoa, who's this guy?
and it's you. It's the man speaking across from me,
What?
Stephen Hayden, his MVP of the 2023 summer season. How do you feel? I think you're feeling pretty good over there.
Yeah, it's nice not to be booed for once.
I mean, if you want me to.
You're probably gonna put in the boot track, aren't you?
No.
No, I'm very happy to be given my first MVP award. I'll be honest, I felt like I got robbed of one in the spring 2022 award season. I felt like I should have been MVP now, but I had some even better numbers this season. As you mentioned, 629 batting average, 685 on base percentage, 39 hits and 73 plate appearances. It's kind of nuts. That doesn't include all the walks I have either. And then pitching wise, I think pitching wise, you look at it, I could have been. I think you look into these awards. I think you kind of your MVP to kind of be a guy that's in the winner that it could win or it would be the winner for a lot of these other awards. I think I could have. I think I could have been the Cy Young winner. I think it could have been the Hank Aaron winner. I think I could have been in both of those things in the running for Silver Slugger. So overall, I'm very happy with the season I had. Not the results we had, not the result we wanted in the playoffs. However, I will point out something interesting. Here's your stat of the day for those of you who are curious, because I have been made fun of this for not winning a playoff game during the summer. The player who's won MVP, there's only been the player who's won MVP during the regular season. Their team in the playoffs actually has a horrible record in playoff games. So no team with with the current MVP has ever made it to the World Series, and there's only out of these first 6 seasons. I'm not sure about the fall 2021 season. I don't think Anthony's team won a playoff game, but only one game has ever been won by an MVP winner in the playoffs, and that would be the spring 2023 season when True Hendrickson won the MVP. The Wise Guys won their wild card game on a walk-off home run. That's the only time an MVP has won a playoff game. So it's not as uncommon. It's actually very common for the MVP to lose in the playoffs, and whether it be because they're not having the best game or in my case, we just didn't have a ton of the guys step up in certain games and things like that. But overall, with this award, I had a very good season. I'm starting to get really good at with ball. Starting to see the ball a lot better. Playing at SoCal with the ball has also helped a lot as well, and also playing in fast pitch. I see those speeds, and then I come out here and I'm just making contact with the ball, putting the ball in play. I'm not striking out a whole lot, or a whole lot of guys striking me out, to be quite honest. And then pitching wise, I kind of continued that World Series form, and I put that into the regular season. World Series, I was pitching very well, especially against the Plastic. I went 12 scoreless innings versus at that time was the Plastic Pitches blue team, which they were the number 1 seed, and I nearly won every single game. I've had some new pitches that leave people in amazement that certain pitches are too small, are under the speed limit because they feel like they throw the same pitch and it's faster. But I have my ways. Maybe that'll be shown at some points. Maybe it won't. But overall, I'm very happy with the season. I'm very very thankful to be named the MVP in what seems like a unanimous vote.
Absolutely. Congratulations, of course. And I guess we have, a couple different curses in this league now. First seed has never won a World Series. MVPs generally don't win playoff games, but anything can be broken, as we keep going down the years here with each season. And we've got 2 more seasons this year to kind of see if that trend breaks itself or whatnot. But I think this was definitely unanimous with the stats and everything. We've highlighted it before, with the award predictions. And I think for the most part, this was maybe one of the better seasons I think you've had out of all of the other ones so far. So congratulations on it winning the MVP.
Yeah, this is definitely one of my better number seasons. My very first season. I'm trying to pull up the stats right now as we do it. I believe it was my first ever official time playing wiffle ball. I believe ERA wise I was somewhere under the 5, in which it was at that point it was very common for people, for guys that win the Cy Young with a 3 or 4 ERA. My very first season, I had a 585 batting average with a 693 on base percentage, 88 plate appearances, 38 hits. So I in 15 less at bats, I had more hits than I did in the in that spring 2022 season. I walked a lot. I walked a lot more than I had 23 walks, as opposed I might have had 11 or 12 walks during the year. Had 11 home runs that spring season versus 13 for this past year or so. The season gotten out 27 times versus getting out 23 times this year. Less plate appearances, but I was really trying to make sure I wasn't going to walk too much, and I was just getting on base a lot. That comes from the aggression, trying to be aggressive at the plate. And I think it's paid off. I think seeing a lot of different pitchers in SoCal wiffle ball and fast pitch wiffle ball has really been helpful for me. And I'm starting to try to become one of those better players of wiffle ball in the California area in general. I believe I can be a guy that kind of tries to build up wiffle ball more in California. Whether it be through this league, through SoCal, or through some other league, or something else like that. But I think for this summer season, it's starting to improve how dominant I can be. I think a lot of people didn't get a chance to see that in the World Series because it wasn't live streamed or anything like that. But I think I think this summer season showed just how good I can be. I do want to back it up with another World Series title, but. I do have one that's more than some people have. So, looking forward to trying to get another one and trying to see if I can get another MVP.
Absolutely. So, and you have the Hank Aaron Award. You've won a Manager of the Year award. You've also got a Silver Slugger award in your belt. Now you've got All-Star Game MVP, and now the biggest World Series win, World Series MVP, co-MVP, I believe. And then now we're here, and you've got your MVP award. So the shelf is looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, I'm almost won every award. If we had a Rookie of the Year award, maybe I would have won it back then. We didn't have it back then though. Cy Young, haven't won one of those. I think had I not been the MVP, I think I would have won the Cy Young this season based off my numbers. And then home run champion. I do not do very well in the home run derbies, so out of 4 or 5 home run derbies, I've only made it to the second round one time. Looking to see if I can improve on that at some point. It won't happen in the fall because I won't be there for that day. But we'll see about this. We'll see about the winter season.
Absolutely. Well, the story continues for Stephen Hayden, and our story continues here on That's Scuffed Up. Well, congratulations to all the award winners once again. I did want to give, maybe there's some conversation about maybe a few people who may have been snubbed or didn't get the recognition that they deserved from a season ago. The one person that kind of comes off the top of my head would be Jordan Drexler, who did not win an award this year, but he had some really, really good numbers from the summer 2023 season. I would have definitely put him up there with Silver Slugger and Hank Aaron Award as well, but that was a very tight race, in itself as it was. But what are your thoughts? Is there any players you want to talk about specifically, or do you also agree about the whole Jordan type of deal, or what's your thoughts about this?
Me personally, I'm 100% agreement in the Jordan Drexler boat. Just me personally, I felt like he was based off the numbers and things like that, he was the second best hitter in the league. Unfortunately, he wasn't the best hitter on his team because he had me, which I was the MVP. But based off the numbers and things like that, I believe he was like second or third in average. I'm pretty sure he was second in average, just behind me in on base percentage. Had a higher slugging than me, had a higher OPS than me. Had the same number of home runs as me, and only getting out 20 times the whole year. To me, I'm very surprised that he didn't win an award. Some confusion with some of the. Maybe that's the thing with some of the voting process. Some things got a little confusing with that, but we were also going to have a new award this year, called the Gold Glove Award, that I thought was going to be given out, and it seemed like at the last minute that kind of got pulled away for whatever reason. I do not know. But I think he was the front runner for that one as well, as one of the best fielders in the league. Main reason would be that beach day, which he turned 2 double plays, first 2 double plays in the league's history. You could also add me in that Gold Glove. I'm one of the best fielders we have, if not the best fielder in the league, especially outfielder. But yeah, I'm very surprised Jordan didn't win an award. I hark back to his fall 2022 award season, in which he had a 561 average and a 714 on base percentage, and didn't win a hitting award that year either. I remember that's one of the biggest reasons why I went to go pick up Jordan Dressler and bring him on my team. It's because I saw that season, the way he was just getting on base. He was working the walks really well and also just getting a lot of hits, no matter how. That's a big reason why we won a World Series, because of that addition. But yeah, I'm shocked based off the results that he didn't win an award this year. I feel like he was definitely deserving to win, not to take anything away from any of the other award winners. But you can check the predictions video for what I said in terms of award winners. I feel like Jordan Dresser should have been the Hank Aaron winner, and then I had Nick Usoff just edging out Lucas Sardo for the Silver Slugger. But yeah, out of these awards, to change from the voting, I'm very surprised Jordan was the one that was dropped.
Absolutely. I know we can have that conversation for multiple times as we go throughout the season. But yeah, that's a whole different conversation that we can have in terms of. But he had a really good season this year, so we're highlighting it here because he deserves a little bit of recognition. Really good player, really good individual in itself, and
was a big reason that the Wolves did make it to the 3 seed. He had the MVP on the team, but he can only do so much. Jordan was really doing well in that two spot in the lineup, and then pitching wise he was doing good as well. But I don't think he was in the race for the Cy Young or anything like that. I feel like he was one of the top guys, but not the top guy, especially with him having 13 less innings than me pitched than me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, hitting wise, we were the best hitting duo in the league this past season, and then we were kind of trying to pick up the slack because our team didn't have the best average numbers this year. That year drops off. Me at 629, him at 545, and then the next person in terms of averages, it's actually you, Justin.
Wow, that's amazing.
But that's all the way down to 328. That's over 200 points lower. Mm-hmm. But the work Jordan was doing to kind of to help me with the load and with putting the team on our back hitting wise. I felt like it should have resulted with him at winning an award, but unfortunately, it can't change that now. I guess it's a little frustrating to see a guy not get rewarded for that, but I guess there's not a whole lot we can do right now.
always next season, he could repeat the same numbers if possible. Obviously, he's kind of gone through a little bit of a slump right now, but we've seen Jordan really explode onto the scene in different seasons, so anything can change for him batting wise.
Yeah, we just want to say congrats to him for having a great season, even though he didn't win an award. He was fully deserving of something. As I'm sure there have been guys in the past that have been deserving of awards that maybe didn't get one, including Jordan in the fall. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. It's not even the fact that he's on my team. If this was a guy on any team, I would be pushing for him to be winning an award, with an award like this. But or at least I would be choosing them. I wouldn't be pushing. I would be choosing them to, voting for them to win that award. But it seems like things change. So we'll see what happens with stuff in the future. And hopefully, he's not had the best start this year, but hopefully he can turn that around as he gets there more often.
Absolutely. Well, anyways, congrats to all the award winners once more. We'll see, how everybody does this season. We're already off to interesting ways. We've got divisions now, so the awards could be split up into different things. So I guess we'll kind of see where that lands, and then obviously we can predict those award winners later down the season, as we always do. Now we can get over to Week 4 stuff. We got a lot of games that we've got to talk about. Some games did not finish as we are recording this. OC Wiffles up 2-1 in the top of the 6 in their game. LA Whiffs versus Avocabros tied at 7 in the bottom of 6. This was during when the lights went out, so we didn't have enough time to finish those games, so I think those will be finished at a later date. Not sure exactly when those will happen, but we can talk about the games that have already finished, and we'll see what the board looks like currently. So we'll get over to the first one with the Trash Pandas versus Shepherd's Pie. This one turned out to be a pretty close one, actually, but looked like Trash Pandas took this game away with a victory 6-5. Did you happen to see this game, and what were your thoughts about this matchup?
Well, I definitely was there. I'm out there. I'm out there every week from about like 5:50 until we're all done. And that's kind of my big job with the league, is making sure things are good on the field. I know you did not see this one, but this was a very close game, actually. It's an 8 or 9 inning game going on here. Long battle between these two. They were tied at 5 going into extras. Trash Pandas finally get a win. Trash Pandas do get the win here. They come with a 6-5 victory. Mo Wright came back. Was playing for the first time this night. Little rusty on the mound, but I think you can kind of expect that for a first time coming back. I probably hasn't touched the wiffle ball too much lately, but Trash Panda is able to get the job done, just enough to beat Shepherd's Pie.
Yeah, this is kind of a must-win for Shepherd's Pie. They're kind of down in the standings right now. Trash Pandas are looking for some consistency. They get Mo right back, so to be able to get this win puts them in a pretty good spot. So good for them for being able to win this game. And we'll talk about the game that they're gonna have just in a second now, actually. So, anyways, we'll talk about Trash Pandas in their second game later on. We'll get to this one between the LA Wolves OC and the MS Warriors. This was a very big matchup between these two teams. This is two teams with history with each other. They take on each other in the same series a lot often. We've had a pretty good rivalry with this team, and the final score 9-4. LA Wolves OC do not make it past the MS Warriors. MS Warriors do win this game in a game that was pretty close at the very beginning, but kind of got away from them towards the end. What were your thoughts about this game?
Yeah, MS Warriors finally got some revenge. The last 4 times these two teams have played, the LA Wolves OC have won, dating back to games 2 and 3 of the playoffs since the spring. and the 2 times these two teams played each other last year, LA was supposed to won both of those. This one's a very much either one side or the other. Um, Dylan Hoffman showing on the mound in the first inning, giving up 3 runs in the first inning. And then I was pitching on the other side, and actually off to a very good start. We got winning 3-0 going to the top of the 3rd inning for the home team. I put Dustin in there. Very controversial call. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I've seen a situation where you don't play with the lines in baseball. That was stupid because it kind of changed it, and I kind of knew it would change the trajectory of the game because what should have been an out ended up being a home run on the next pitch, and then things kind of fell apart from there. They scored 8 runs in the 3rd inning, including me, having some. I don't know. I didn't pull anything. I was running. I had some tightness in my left leg and kind of froze my leg, and I couldn't. And I fell to the ground and couldn't run anymore. We tried to battle back. I had a solo home run off Hayden, but we just couldn't get the offense going anymore. It was one of those weird games where. I pitched 4 innings, didn't give up any runs, but then the innings I wasn't pitching when we gave up all our runs. So it was a very interesting win. MS Warriors did well to battle back. Having Hayden back on their team is a big plus for them, especially with the bat. Hayden's off to a great start to the season so far. MS Warriors stay undefeated. We'll see fall to 2-2.
Yeah, so this different look for the LA OC. Things that change the momentum of the game. I'm not sure, what that conversation will look like, with the rules and everything like that. But obviously, it is what it is in the very moment. And, here we are. We'll get a chance to play them maybe again or, whether that's in the playoffs or not. So this was a lopsided loss for the LA OC, but a great win for them as Warriors, who remain undefeated in this one. So,
I think this game was closer than what the score says. I think these two teams are very evenly matched. I think especially those top 3 teams, the MS Warriors, Purple Huskies, and LA supposed to see. I think these top 3 teams in the standings are very evenly matched. I think any one of them can beat each other on any day. So I need to figure out that second pitcher that day. Dustin was getting very unlucky on the mound. A lot of jam hits and off the end of the bat hits and stuff that would just barely travel over the fence for home or the cones for a home run. Mm-hmm. Very unlucky day for him, but. I continue to pitch extremely well versus the MS Warriors. It's kind of been a theme. I've been pitching very well against them, so just look to continue that more in the future. I feel like the LA are very capable of beating them. It was their first time with all 6 guys, so they're working out some stuff with the lineup. I think that team. I think LA I think it's the game they lost. Versus the game the MS Warriors won. I think we just gave away that game in the 3rd and 5th inning, in which I wasn't pitching. But it's one of those that just happens.
Yeah, definitely. Well, moving on to the next game, we've got Avocados taking on Trash Pandas. Trash Pandas coming off of a victory earlier in the day. 6-5 was that final score in that game against Shepherd's Pie. They come in here looking for another win, and they come against the Avocados, and they come up with a lopsided victory with the Trash Pandas taking it away with 21 runs in total to the Avocados 4 runs, and this allows Trash Pandas to win their second game of the day in their doubleheader, and Avocados do lose this matchup in this game.
Yeah, a very different game from the Trash Pandas first game. They were in a dogfight the first game, and this one they kind of broke away. And they were hitting the ball often and early, just out getting ahead. Trash Pandas off to a 4-2 start now after this win. Mo Wright looking good in his comeback. Already had 3 home runs in between the 2 games. Looking good out there again. Ryan Swanson is really picking things up at the plate. It doesn't have the best average on base percentage, but I actually am mistaken about the home run leader. I thought Lucas Sardo was leading the league in home runs, but actually it'll be Ryan Swanson leads the league with 8 home runs now. I'm not sure. Possibly he may have had a lot in this game, but now he now leads Division One in home runs off to a good power start. He's got some very good slugging numbers, and the OPS doesn't look great. His on base percentage is still 425, which is actually the second lowest on his team, but. I think he's supplying a lot of the offense here. Just as a team, they're all working pretty well together. And then pitching wise, having Mo back take some of the pressure off of a guy like Blake Fitzgerald, so he doesn't have to pitch 4 innings every game. They can kind of mix it between the two of them. Looked like Mo pitched 6 innings in this between the 2 games, allowed 5 runs. So he did allow most of the runs because they gave him 5 in game 1 and 4 in game 2. But it looks, he's gonna have to get back into it and just go back to throwing strikes instead of going back to throwing every week. So big win here for the Trash Pandas. They moved now to 4-2. Really putting themselves up that leaderboard. And I saw last year we played in the first game. We saw some potential with their bats, but now that you combine that with the hitting, and things are starting to look very good for them. They're starting to be one of the teams maybe you don't expect to be at the top of the leaderboard or at the top of the standings is now starting to push to get to that top of the standings.
Well, I mean, obviously we've seen the big jump that they had last season, and then transitioning into this one, they get one of their better pitchers, Mo Wright. Obviously, has missed some time, so he's kind of readjusting himself a bit to get back up to the level that he did a season ago. So this is a good look for Trash Pandas. This is kind of the expectations that we had for them, coming into Division 1. Are they able to really present themselves as a really competitive team in this division? And I think they're making a case for that with these first, these 2 wins that they had during this week. So props to them. They're looking pretty good this year.
They've had some close games this year, but this one they were able to really get the bats going. We'll see if they're able to transfer. This. So I'm not sure if they've put. If I'm looking at the standings figure, I'm not sure if they've played yet the MS Warriors or the Purple Huskies. So it'll be interesting to see what happens once they do play those teams.
Yeah, those would be the interesting matchups that we'll be keeping an eye for. The other matchups that we're also keeping an eye on would be the games that we talked about earlier, which are still pending, which is the Avocabros versus LA Wolves OC, and then OC Wolves LA versus MS Warriors. We'll probably talk about that later in the future once those games have final scores posted on board. But the last Division 1 game that we had on the sheet is the Beach City Bombers versus the Purple Huskies. This one is another game that we expected to be pretty close. Obviously, the latter is what happened here. Purple Huskies took this win 11-0 in a massive shutout for their team and keeps the Purple Huskies yet again undefeated as well.
Yeah, World Series matchup from this past season. Purple Huskies were able to shut out the Beach City Bombers. It was last week the Beach City 2 weeks ago Beach City Bombers shut out the Trash Pandas, and now you have this with the different divisions you can show. Things can change real quickly, a lot quicker than it would in the past when you have every team playing each other. But Purple Huskies was a big win for them. I'm sure they wanted some revenge for losing in that World Series last year. Drake Hoffman's been really making a push to for an early season MVP. He's off to a great pitching and hitting start so far. Just got 9 innings pitched, but now he's second on the team in innings. He's actually very close to being first. 9 innings pitched, 18 strikeouts, no runs allowed so far this year. I do take some credit for getting one of Drake's 2 runs off of him last year. We haven't played each other yet. We'll see if I do. So far, Drake's running away with his team lead in average as well. We got a 545 average. The next guy on the list actually is Joey Connor with a 389, so he's way ahead in average. leads his team in on-base percentage, has 3 home runs on the year, already has 12 hits for his team. It seems like he's gone, because last year was very much a home run or get out kind of guy. Now the highest average, but he had a good number of home runs. This year he seems to be switching that around and just find a way to get on base more. Half of his hits so far are singles. He's also got 4 walks in there, so only gotten out 10 times this whole season. We'll see how long he's able to keep this up, but I think right now he's one of those names that's starting to make a push for that early candidate MVP, along with certain guys such as Hayden Hendrickson's off to a great start, and Stephen Hayden is off to a great start so far. So we'll see how long Drake can hold that up, but for Beach City Bombers, they haven't had the best start to this year. And they're seeing the competition be a little more different, especially with the Division One standings. Last year they only lost twice. 3 games in total, but only twice in the regular season. That was both to the Purple Huskies, whereas this season they've lost to the MS Warriors and LA Wolves C, and now they've lost to the Purple Huskies. So they put themselves a little bit behind the ball here, but once they start figuring stuff out, I know Zach's then have a little bit of trouble with the speed limit and things like that. We'll see what happens once they start figuring things out, because they kind of started figuring things out last year, causing people to swing at some of those faster pitches. But it seems like the Division One guys are so far not swinging at that faster stuff. We'll see how they are able to adjust going forward.
Absolutely, yeah. Beach City Bombers, I think it's too early to kind of call World Series hangover yet. Obviously, we're not that late in the part of the season where we can call it that, but they've always made it competitive, so obviously they're going to make their adjustments midway through the season, come back stronger. Purple Huskies are obviously coming off of a tough, World Series appearance loss, and they are trying to make a return back to where they once were to make another World Series push, and they're already off to a really, really good start. It's remaining undefeated like they did last season. Obviously, the only loss that they had was, in that World Series with the 2 that they gave up to the Beach City Bombers. So this rematch between the 2 teams is a interesting indicator of what we might see later on down the road. Obviously.
Yeah, but so far you got the 2 undefeated teams. Purple Huskies and MS Warriors off to a great start again. We'll talk more about the MS Warriors' second game. They're currently losing as we go into the 6th inning versus the OC Wiffles of LA. But so far, both those teams off to a great start. LA Wiffles of OC are right up there. Trash Pandas are looking like they'll be in 3rd place after these week's results. And I believe it'll be Purple Huskies, MS Warriors, Trash Pandas, we'll see for the standings, for the top 4 standings right now. Be interesting to see where those teams go. LA will see can make a push. Is anyone going to be able to catch up to the Purple Huskies? They've changed their roster around a little bit. They lost Hayden, but they added Jerry Ponder and Kyle Froome. Drake's taking on more of a pitching role, it seems. So we'll see how they're able to end up here, but will anyone actually be able to defeat the Purple Huskies in the regular season? We shall soon find out.
Absolutely, and that's something we'll always keep an eye on. That's why we do these podcasts, to kind of keep an eye on what's the storyline, what's going on, what's with the narrative, and stuff like that. Anyways, that concludes the Division 1 games. We'll move on now to the Division 2 games. Something different I'm going to be doing for this Division 2 analysis is referencing the page that Ryan Lavelle has set up for us in this broadcast, which is some notes that he took. Obviously he's playing in Division 2 with the OC Seals, so he was kind enough to share a report of what he's been seeing out there. So as we discuss some of these games, I'll kind of reference that sheet a little bit about the teams and where they look like. The first one, obviously, the Pacific Thrashers taking on the 47ers. These 2 teams are brand new this year. Pacific Thrashers are coming off a really, really rocky start with winless record, and then the 47ers have been kind of the middle bar so far with their 2-2 record as they enter week 4. Pacific Thrashers, though, looked really good in this game. They won this game 18-0 in this first game of the doubleheader that they'd be facing on the day. So they take their first victory of the year in this game.
Yeah, the Pacific Thrashers finally had their full team there. No more subs like Nick and I subbing in, playing lefty and stuff. So it looks like they're starting to figure out some of the pitching better. And then hitting wise, they were figuring stuff out. 47ers, they've been a little up and down so far. Not the best start for them. I mean, they sat going into this week. They were sitting at 2-2 in the 3 spot in the division. I think just getting some more consistency with them will be key. Just to try kind of figuring stuff out will be good. And I think they've had some good weeks. They've beaten Whoosh in the past. They've beaten some of these better teams in the past, but this week they just had a bad week, and normally see bad weeks go that bad, but this was not a good one.
Absolutely. For the Pacific Thrashers, they've struggled finding consistency a little bit, and we'll talk about their next game later on here, as it was a completely different result for them. But for the 47ers, I do have the details that Ryan put on here is, big athletic guys, group of friends who are looking to, figure things out here. They have a lot of athleticism, as I understand, and they're learning how to pitch. They have the lowest walk rate of the 5 main teams here, so they've had some issues there, with the batting, trying to figure out, what's the timing and being able to stay ahead of the count and whatnot. So obviously this game was a little indication of that struggle a little bit, but they've figured it out in some cases, as we've seen the past few weeks. So I'm sure they're looking for a way to readjust and come back here with a better narrative than they had in this game.
Yeah, and they've just been up and down. New team, they're figuring out some stuff. We'll see what happens with this team. I'm glad to see Pacific Thrashers turn around for this game at least. Shout out to Chad French as well. Who was that one player there last time when this team needed the subs. Glad to see him get a victory. He's getting some hits in there for himself, working his average up. He's starting to push that up and things like that. So we'll see what happens with the future of each of these teams, whether Pacific Thrashers are here, ready to go, or then what's up with the 47ers, if it's going to be a downfall for them, or what's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. The next game that we got here is the Whoosh versus Bad News Dingers. Whoosh have been consistently trying to figure out, a way to stay ahead of the curve right now. Bad News Dingers, they've also been kind of, in that conversation as well. This game that the theme that we've seen in Division 2 so far is high-scoring games for the most part. This one is a good example of that. 18-12 was the final victory, and Whoosh get a dub in this Week 4 matchup between their opponent.
Yeah, I think it mainly came down to the Bad News Dingers' second pitcher. They only had 3 guys there. They were mixing some stuff around when Joe Reese wasn't pitching. But Whoosh took advantage of it, was able to get a bunch of runs and able to come away with this game. But I don't see this game as a negative for Bad News Dingers. I think they did very well getting 12 runs off a team like Whoosh. We've seen a little bit of fall so far from Drew Plant. Drew Plant was one of the better pitchers in the league, especially in the fall 2022 season, in which we had that speed limit a little higher. I'm sure, I think he might be a guy as well that speed limit is starting to affect him a little bit. Because at that point we were at 65 miles an hour, and then once we got to the spring we went down to 62 miles an hour, and he wasn't around for 2 seasons. So I think the combination of the speed limit change and him not being around for a couple of seasons and coming back now, I think it's going to be a little bit of struggle for him. But I kind of saw him as being their number one pitcher. Overall, their team has a very very high ERA. Don Lecomte, 9.5 ERA. Drew Plant with a 9.75 ERA. If they could figure out the pitching side of stuff and to keep that score, that the opponent's runs low, I think they can be in and win a lot of games. And then for Bad News Dingers, Joe Reese is having a good start so far. 4.64 ERA, 22 innings pitched, only 17 runs allowed with 40 strikeouts. He's making a really case for that Division II Cy Young right now. It's going to be very tough for a guy like Zach Ireland in there as well. But so far, Joey Reese is having a very successful time here in Division II and is trying to lead his team to some playoff success. But not able to get the job done in this game. We'll see how they do in the second game.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan Lavalle's report says, they're a very patient team. They take a lot of walks. They don't really try to go for a lot of big hits. And then, you mentioned Joe Reese with the pitching. They have, according to Ryan's report, it says they have above average pitching too. They kind of lack that number 2 pitcher that, we typically seen as a pattern here in wiffle ball. Is you definitely need that number 2 pitcher to keep consistently winning games, back and forth. But he does mention that they're close and serious contender in Division II as well. And for Whoosh, according to the report, it says he believes that his team is in a slump right now. Obviously, the latter is what we saw in this game. They've faced some really good pitching. They can easily turn things around at the plate. They've struggled on the mound. They have multiple guys sharing innings. But I think the narrative here from this report is that if they establish a legit number 1, they could be a lot more dangerous and could be a contender in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, and that's where with Whoosh, that's where I kind of thought Drew Plant would come in. It was still the 5 things, but he's not been doing that so far. We'll see if Donald's able to step up or if Drew's able to make a comeback. Even with Joe Reese, I've always thought, if he just throws a little bit harder, he can be a guy. He can have an even lower ERA than he does, because he lives in that 54 to 56 range. He puts an extra 5 miles an hour on that. People aren't gonna be able to hit him. I think he's a very similar pitcher to True in terms of the stuff he has, but just throws slower, and True throws the ball a little harder, and so people aren't able to hit it as well. I think people are starting to see the slower pitcher of Joe, and they're able to catch on to it eventually because it's coming a little slower. So, Joe, if you're listening, just throw a little harder. I promise you'll see the numbers improve. The ball will still move and might even move even more. You'll be able to get with more stuff. And I keep working on that screwball that you got. I think that pitch is working well. Just get more accuracy with that. I think you're gonna have some real success here in Division II.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, in terms of success, the Bad News Dingers, in their second game, they take on the Pacific Thrashers, who came off a really lopsided game earlier in the day against the 47ers. But then the Bad News Dingers flipped the script on them and took the shutout win 27-0 against the Pacific Thrashers. And that's kind of going into that, consistency that hasn't been there for the Pacific Thrashers, as we see here in this game.
Yeah, it's just a matter of just the consistency, and just all that stuff. Bad News Dingers were just hitting the ball left, right, and center off the Pacific Thrashers pitching, something the 47ers couldn't do. Big win for the Bad News Dingers, staying in that top of the standings. So that's 2-3, I believe. They still have to make up another game. Another game, it was 2-2 in the last minute, so they got to make that one up in order to get up to speed with the standings and stuff. But I think Bad News Dingers is I kind of underrated them going into the season. I think Joe's making an early push for that fall 2020 for that fall MVP right now for Division II after a good hitting start as well. 458 average with a 552 on base percentage. So far already has 3 home runs, 15 singles already. 15 of his 22 hits are singles already. So he's got over half of his team's singles right now. So He's also got some power in his lineup with Brett Humphreys and Shane McCoy. Each of those guys having 6 and 7 home runs respectively. So once they figure out that second pitcher, I think it can be a very good team. And if Joe just throws a little harder, I think he can be very dangerous in Division Two.
Absolutely. I think if you look at the numbers that we're looking at here, they've obviously have good enough bats to do so to make that push either way. Now, speaking of which, we move on to the final game of Division 2 with a team that kind of emulates, what we see in Division 1 talent. They have a lot of really good players on that team as well. OC Seals and Wiffle D's taking on each other. This was the fight between the first and 2 seeds, actually. So this was kind of a game that is a must-watch if you're present in there during Week 4. But OC Seals took this one in a wide margin, 12-1 the final score, and this keeps them in the very top of the standings as the leading team in Division 2 right now.
I think this game was relatively close for a while. Things kind of broke out in the later innings. Once Wolfleys tried to go to their second pitcher, I believe things just went off to a good start. Things were off to a good start for the teams, and then OCCOs eventually broke away. And they had a 7-man lineup this last week. They have a lot of power within that lineup. They have a lot of good talent in there. So OCCOs right now are looking like the team to beat in Division 2. Curious if they'll be able to keep that up. We'll see how much time certain guys are going to miss on the team. But I think Wiffle D's are right in. Excuse me. But I think Wiffle D's are right in there as well. Not the greatest. Not really the result you want to see there. But so far they've had some good numbers so far. Alex Harris so far got a 2 ERA and 12 innings pitched with 26 strikeouts. And even Chris Garza, 12 innings pitched with a 6 ERA, 23 strikeouts for him. It might have been a situation where Alex Harris was, where Brian Garza was pitching this game. I'm not exactly sure who the second pitcher was, if they were missing Chris Garza or something like that. You could probably check more on the YouTube video, but overall, I think these might be the top 2 teams. I think these 2 teams and Whoosh are some of the top, probably the top 3 teams right now. I think either one of these 3 teams can win, but right now it looks like OC Seals are kind of that the cream of the crop right now, especially with Zach Ireland leading the way.
Yeah, and referencing Ryan Lavelle's report, they lead the league in home runs, averages, hits, and OPS in Division 2. They scored double-digit runs in all 6 games that they had this year. They have 4 really strong guys, talent-wise. Ireland, according to Ryan, is an X-Factor, Cy Young favorite. He's only missing 2 nights the rest of the year as well. Nick Doherty is also a real number 2 and has helped secure wins. Wiffle D's, they're the second best team in D2 thanks to their offense. You mentioned Alex Harris has been probably one of the better pitchers in this Division 2. And then Brian Garza, according to a report, is considered an MVP candidate at the plate. But he does mention that if the rest of the team does get hot, then they can definitely beat any of these Division 2 teams down there. So this was a very good preview of what we might see in the Division 2 playoffs. And who knows, maybe this might be what we see in the World Series if it comes down to it. But obviously, Wiffle Dietz has got to figure out the OC Seals, or they might end up with the same result as they did in this game.
Yeah, both these teams could have been in Division 1. They're both competitive enough where they could have been winning some games in Division 1, but they decided to go with Division 2, try to see how much success they have. Only one team is going to be able to win Division 2, so we'll be, as we go along through the season, we'll see who that is. But right now, OC Steelers are looking like the top of the group, a clear game ahead of everybody now. The only team that's 1 game behind them is Wiffle D's at this point, with every other team 2 or sometimes 3 games behind them. So we'll see how the OCCs continue on throughout the year. I don't think it's going to be. They're not going to win every single game the rest of the year. So we'll see how they're able to adjust to that adversity and stuff if they come across a day where Whoosh are pitching well. I think that could be. I think Whoosh can be a very dangerous team to those two Seals. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, that will conclude Division 2 results for this one. We'll move on now to the Purple League. Not a lot of details we need to go over as much, but obviously we always cover every single thing that's happening around the league. The first game that we'll cover is the Glizzy Gladiators versus the Pancake Batters. Glizzy Gladiators do currently lead the Purple League in wins. They're trying to continue that success there for their team. They beat the Pancake Batters 14-7 in this game. Did you have a chance to see anything at all? What was your thoughts about the score of this game?
For the Glizzy Gladiators, Shelby Balian has been very good for them. Been very good as their the female pitcher on their team. We saw her last year with Anthony's team. She was pitching a little bit over there, and she continued to just throw strikes and be able to get some outs in there. You put Joey Ponder and Kyle Froome on a team in the Purple Division, they've got a shot. Joey Ponder doesn't have the best pitching numbers, but from what I understand, those could be skewed. As revealed by him, he may have tinkered with some numbers, making himself look worse for the sake of his team, but that's fine. He does have some good hitting numbers, though. Got a couple home runs, 440 over 4 average so far. And Glizzy Gladiators, let's say kind of Glizzy Gladiators and the Chiefs is kind of those top two teams so far in the Purple Division, with Glizzy Gladiators taking the lead. We know how far Joey Ponder is in your head, so.
I'm still waiting for that matchup, so I'm not gonna leave a comment on there until that matchup is over.
No, we can comment now.
I mean, I could definitely.
If you have one thing to say to Joey Ponder, what would you say to him?
Joey, you need to pack your bags up, and you're being evicted from whatever this whole thing is, because frankly, I think you're in over your head. And I would gladly put those conversations away immediately as soon as we play each other. So I'm coming for you and your entire team. And you have lit a fire under something that you did not want to light up. So I'll see you very soon, my friend.
Yeah, you better watch out, Joey. You might actually get a hit one for once.
So you had to just deteriorate it there. Okay, fair enough. You bastard.
All right, Joey, just clip that and put that on the Instagram and you're good.
We'll see about that after we play each other. Anyways, moving on to the next game, we got the Sheeps versus Wiffle Does. 13-8 was the final score. The Sheeps increased their spot in the standings as well. Your thoughts about this game as well?
I mean, you have a similar thing. You have Anthony Agrusa and Matt Hornich on the team in this division. They can do a lot of good things. I know Anthony's hitting lefty sometimes as well, but he's still having success in this division with the hitting. And then pitching. Pitching wise, he's going to be a lot more high scoring games. So you're not going to see some great ERA numbers. But still, Nikki Shiver or Nikki Shiver, I'm not so sure how to say her last name, has had some success on the mound so far for the Chiefs. 6 runs allowed in 4 innings pitched is not too bad. It's actually pretty good in this division. And then for Wiffle Does, they've got the Harrises, they've got the Leeds, and they've got Chris Garza as well. All mixing with some different innings pitched and stuff. All with some moderate levels of success. So we'll see what happens with these two teams. But this is kind of one of those, anything can happen in these games. We'll see what continues to happen with these. Any team can beat any team in this division. So just got to see who does it on that certain day. But right now it looks like the Gladiators and Sheep are kind of those top two teams.
Absolutely. Those are the two teams that have guys who also participate in Division 1 as well. So it's kind of I don't know if you want to say fair or not fair, but I mean they're also having some extra added fun in there as well. So I'll give that to them. Anyways, that'll do it for all of our week 4 results and standings, and obviously we're going to keep up with those 2 games that are still pending currently, and we'll see what happens with that. But it looks like we're kind of wrapping it up here, unless you have any other announcements or details you want to share before we finish up things here, my friend.
We'll talk more about 2 games I got to finish at a certain point. We gotta finish those up. Game between the Louisville and the Avocados, which that was a very interesting game. Which what was going on, and then the OC Wolves Lavalle versus MS Warriors, in which that had some interesting results going on. We'll see what continues to happen with those. We'll talk more about those later. Other than that, I don't think there's too much more to talk about for this week. Some info on the Angel Series, which I mentioned at the beginning. I'm going to say it again. If you did purchase a ticket for the Big A Series Angel game or the tailgates, that they will be getting a full refund back to you. We just didn't have enough people sign up for that to make that happen. The wiffle ball games will still be going on Saturday. That would be September 16th. So if your team did say yes, that you're able to play in that, those games will still be going on. We'll see how much or how many games people will be playing and stuff, but that will still be happening. So just keep an eye. The email will already be out by the time this podcast goes out, so make sure you check your emails, and the captains let your team know and things like that. Good chance to be able to play outside of Tuesday nights and things like that. So
absolutely,
it should be interesting. Should be interesting for all that. But no more tickets available. You'll be getting the refund. Then we continue on with week 5 here. Starting to get more into the thick of the season. We're back at the Great Park full time again. So we will see what happens.
Absolutely, and then obviously we still have one special series down the road later on the fall 2023 schedule. Not exactly sure what the details are on that, but it's unfortunate that we weren't able to get the Big A series together for that. And I mean, it's always something that the league is trying to do a little bit differently. Obviously, this one didn't fall through the way that I guess a lot of people wanted it to. But we still got games coming on that date, so we'll also kind of cover those as that happens as well.
We've had success with some of these fast events, especially getting a bunch of teams to travel down to San Diego for the day. We had success with that one. Seemed like we couldn't get the availability for this one. Hopefully, have more teams available for the Beach Series, which will be coming up on October 7th, I believe. Yes, it is October 7th. May have one of the main staples not there for the first time. We'll see we'll see they're there. Similar to what we said about the All-Star Game. That's the same weekend as the United Wiffle Ball World Championships. So it looks like Dustin and I will not be there for that weekend. But we'll see if we can get off our other 4 guys to come out there, then we will probably play. But right now, it's not looking too likely for that. So hopefully we can have some other teams go out there and be able to fill that void for us. So keep looking for that, and then have World Series coming up in a little bit, and then the winter season starts up very quickly. There's been an extra week added to the regular season, so where now the World Series will be playing for the divisions on October 17th, and then right away next week, October 24th, we have the winter season starting. So. And I almost feel like you just have never stopped playing. It's just kind of a reset and go again. So we will see what happens with that.
Most definitely.
Also on the website, if you're interested now, you go to registration. You can see that the fall 2023 shirts are available on the website. You can purchase those online. I believe those are somewhere around like $23 or so, I want to say. I've got to find that on here to make sure, because the website's not loading for me. But because I'm in Chicago. But I believe those shirts are online. I believe there's an email put out something about it sometime last week. So make sure you go check that out if you're interested. See Wiffle Ball shirts. You can order those now, and then eventually you can you will get those later on during the year. They're more of a blue spruce color with some touches of orange and white in there. Very similar to some of our other shirts in the past. You order it. Hopefully, this podcast will be up. Will this podcast be up before next Tuesday, Justin? Do you think?
Should be.
Yeah, there is a sale going on through September 12th until 11:59. You can get these shirts for $23.99 each. Until then, you can. After then, I should say, the price will go up a little bit. So make sure you order those now if you're interested in having one.
Absolutely. Make sure you go purchase those shirts on the OC Wiffle Ball website as well. All right.
Yeah, maybe you can get one that actually is your size.
Which is?
No, you.
My size is like small.
Oh, because you didn't get one. You didn't get one your size last time.
Oh, that's what you're referencing to. I was like, what are you talking about? Anyways, I think that should be it for episode 22 of That Scuffed Up. We will see you guys at episode 23. Make sure you guys are following the official OC Wiffle Ball Instagram and checking out all the cool videos and social media that all the teams are running currently. Well, that's it for us here on episode 22. This is Justin Lee and Stephen Hayden, and we'll see you guys in week 5.
Yeah, the MVP signing out.